Hi, this is Pastor Larry here, and we're kicking off a new series of daily doses today. And it's called The Battle Belongs to the Lord. And it reminds me of one of my favorite verses. And I love this verse, these actually two verses, because they apply, the principle behind them apply to so many situations in life. They apply to my career, they apply to my finances, they apply to my ministry, they apply to my marriage, they apply to my parenting. And the principle, as we're going to see when we look at these couple of verses, is simply this: it's my job to obey. It's God's job to determine the outcome. It's my job to do the right thing, and it's God's job to determine whether or not I win or lose in the short run. You see, on the cross, Jesus is guaranteed that if I'm a follower of Jesus, I win in the long run every single time. But let's be honest, what most of us are concerned about day in and day out is not the long run of eternity, but the short run of the situations that we find ourselves in. And it's therein that we can become overly discouraged or sometimes overly arrogant because the short-term outcome works out so well or not so well. And we have forgotten many times what our role is and what God's role is. So let me read the passage to you. It's found in Proverbs chapter 21, and it's verses 30 and 31. Now, Proverbs was compiled by a guy named Solomon, a great king. And I believe he compiled these words of wisdom for his son Rehoboam, who is going to be king next. Unfortunately, when you read through the Bible, you'll find out Rehoboam didn't follow his advice. But here's what he tells him. You need to remember this: there is no wisdom, there is no insight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. In other words, God's will is going to take place. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. You see, your job and my job in every situation we're facing, whether it be in normal times or these crazy COVID-19 times, our job is always to prepare the horse for battle. And then victory, it belongs to the Lord. So when it comes to your marriage, it's your job to play your side of the tennis court, if you will, well, and to do what you're supposed to do and play by the rules. You can't determine what somebody else on the other side of the net does, but you and I always can control what we do on our side of the net. When it comes to our workplace, it is our job to do well and to honor Jesus and to do the very best we can to make him look good. And then whether we get promoted or whether we get falsely accused, that's out of our control. Two biblical examples. You got a guy named Daniel with a wicked, damnable king named Nebuchadnezzar. Long story short, he's forced into his administration, and he serves him as if he's serving the Lord, like we're told to do. He does the right thing, and he gets promoted to higher and higher positions, where he's able to bring glory to God and actually bring the truth to King Nebuchadnezzar. On the other side, you got a guy named Joseph who does exactly the right thing, and as a result of it, he's falsely accused of rape when he ran from the relationship, and he's thrown into prison. And until the very end of the story, when God puts all the pieces together and what people had meant for evil turns out being for good, you would have never known that. You see, but in both cases, they prepared the horse for battle well, and then God determined what the long-term outcome was going to be. It's the same thing with our finances. You know, if I manage and you manage your finances as if I'm a manager, a steward of God's resources, and I do with them what He would have me to do, well, it's up to Him whether He gives me more to keep doing that or He gives me less. It's gonna be His call. It's the same with raising our children. All we can do is the best we can. The outcome, that's not in our hands. And I have found this principle to be so freeing that the battle belongs to the Lord. Because otherwise, what I find is when everything goes well, I pat myself on the back as if I did it. I'm like a turtle on a post that thinks he got there on his own. And when things go poorly, what happens is sometimes I beat myself up for things that were absolutely walking in obedience. It is so freeing to know what my role is and what God's role is. The battle belongs to the Lord. Preparing for the battle, that belongs to you and me. Let's make sure we do it well.